Welcome to All Worn Out. I'm your host, Warren Meredith. On the show today, rhythm guitarist and lead vocalist of rockin' band Nitetime Drive, it's Jay Day. Yeah, I can't wait to get into it and hear all about what Nitetime Drive has coming up. Hi, everybody. Welcome to All Worn Out. It's a podcast about music. It's a podcast about what you're passionate about. It's a podcast about what our guest is passionate about. Today, I am so lucky and excited to bring on to the show a fantastic vocalist and musician. He is a friend of mine, Mr. J Day.
How's it going, buddy?
How are you doing today?
Fantastic, man. Fantastic.
And
Such
so
good
you're
weather out there.
Oh gosh, yes, we're having it here in Ottawa. Whereabouts are you located right now?
I am in Port Hope.
You're in Port Hope?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I always like driving past Port Hope when I'm on my way to Toronto. It is the Port Hope. It's like, yeah, we're almost there.
Yeah.
Keep the hope alive.
Only 45 more minutes, hopefully, if traffic is not bad.
That's, and when you're coming from Ottawa, it's like, that's not bad. That's not a bad outlook. But anyways, we met through Chris Gaines,
Yes.
who I had on the show here. And Chris, of course, he loves you. And he loves Nitetime Drive, and rightfully so. And he gets really excited when he talks about the bus that you guys filled up and brought out and all those great fans that came to support you guys. And I kind of want to touch on that because I think this building is your fan support. Is that group getting bigger still? Like it's still kind of snowballing?
Yeah. So, I mean, we're actually headlining the Barn Burner on the 21st of September, and we're actually bringing in another bus. So,
oh, man.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. But yeah, like we try to give the fans as easy as possible to get there type of thing, because I mean, we want everybody to have fun and we don't want it to cost a fortune, try to find parking and all that stuff as well. So the bus idea originally came from the Elma Combo. We did that very first when we played the Elma Combo. It was awesome. And then we decided to do it for the Barn Burner, and it was another success. So it was pretty awesome.
Now, when you did Elma Combo, did you do the small Elma Combo or the big Mama Elma Combo? Because it was really funny when I did Canadian Music Week and I got there and I kind of was realizing, there's two Elma Combos. And so was everyone else, like the bands from California and this and that who were coming in, and they were like, ooh, we're going to play in this bar? And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Over here.
Yeah.
But I mean, still a great bar. Still such a cool bar.
Yeah, fantastic. And we ended up playing the bottom too. I didn't realize there was two venues. And so when I was like pumping it up to the guys, I'm like, man, we got the Elma Combo. It was fantastic. And then I was just like, oh, look at this venue. And I started sending them all these screenshots and stuff. And then when I was talking with the promoter, they're like, oh no, we're downstairs. And I was like, oh, so it was kind of a little bit deflating, but that bar is awesome. And to play the historic Elma Combo, like it's incredible.
Yeah. Just walking up those, they do a great job of capturing the nostalgia. Like they have all the names of the bands that have played there, going up the stairs, and great big pictures of them as well. Like I really like what they've done there. And well, heck, that's what I like about Toronto bars, about certain ones anyways, is you can really get a character and a feel out of them. So you grew up around Port Hope?
Yeah, I'm born and raised. Well, it was Cobourg. So Cobourg and Port Hope are like 5-10 minutes away. I've been a Cobourg boy my entire life, and we just recently moved to Port Hope. Just nicer neighborhood. Was about 3 years ago. Yeah, about 3 years ago now. So we've been here ever since.
Okay, and what was your first memory? What's your first recollection of the music coming to your mind when you're a young child? What can you remember from back then? My mom. So my mom was a rocker. My dad was hardcore country,
and my mom was a rocker, so she would always I grew up listening Guns N' Roses, Metallica, ZZ Top, like all of the greats, and there was nothing better than a Saturday with mom's cleaning, and it's just cranked to it's just so. That's where a lot of my inspiration comes from. Is my mom really kickstarted the rock for me, which was great. Don't get me wrong, I love country music, and I learned how to play guitar on country music, but I love writing rock and roll.
Yeah, when you're doing the country back then, it must have been the Garth Brooks and the Alan Jackson and Brooks and Dunn. To me, 90s country was fantastic, but again, my mom loved it. So growing up, I got a lot of 90s country. Some before, because that's what my grandparents like. My grandparents still are in love with, the 70s and 80s country music.
Yep.
But, I didn't get into the rock and roll till later. So that's really cool that you had that cool rock influence. And did your mom sing?
No, actually, none of my family sings really. Like my dad plays guitar and he sings a little bit, but I actually learned how to sing with Garth Brooks' Greatest Hits album. I literally would come home from school, I would play it at the top of my lungs. I do a lot of drawing, and I would literally just sing and try to match his pitch the entire. So that's how I learned how to sing, was Garth Brooks. So thank you, Garth.
I kind of had a feeling he would play a role in the country side of things back then. I mean, his songwriting wise, I think he's unparalleled in that timeline, because the songs are just so well written. But back then, when you're singing these songs, did it take you a long time to work that country drawl out of your singing style, or is it still a key part of it? Like when I went to the studio, for example, I got in trouble sometimes. The producer was like, "No, you're doing Elvis. Stop singing like Elvis." Or it'd be like, "No, you're doing this. Stop doing that. I don't want you to go to that trope. Instead, just be you." So did you do like a lot of Garth Brooks style for a while and then kind of work it out?
So around the kitchen table was, like I said, it was a lot of country. But when I started actually playing cover bands, it was all classic rock cover bands. So when I started, I mean, like I'm really good at remembering lyrics. Like a lot of people were like, "How do you even remember that?" I'm just like, I don't know. It just sticks. So when we did cover bands, that's what it was. It was pretty much all classic rock. So the style kind of just shifted from country to classic rock, more heavier rock.
Cool. And so now let's say you're 13, 14, 15, you're in high school, and what's the first like CD you're buying, or what's the first album you're buying, or, what was it?
Everyone's going to hate me, but Nickelback.
I don't hate you.
I
don't hate that.
Nickelback is my favorite band. I don't care all you haters out there. But
Great. Good.
Yeah.
You should be proud, and
absolutely.
And I'm glad that you're a fan of them, and you're not worried about saying that, because gosh, like they are a great band and they did great things, and Canadians should still be proud of them. And they shouldn't be jumping on hate trains. Sometimes I find we jump on wagons here, but anyways, you jump on wagons everywhere.
Yeah.
So basically, you're then buying that album. So then what do you buy after that? Can you remember the next second or third album?
So yeah, because I bought, so I should backtrack. So before Nickelback I bought Ozzy, and then you buy Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction. I think I had that on CD. I had that on cassette tape. I think my mom even had it on vinyl. So like they were like a big influence. And then it got into the shift where like it was like Nickelback, and then like Creed, and then Breaking Benjamin and stuff. And so it was my influences go like crazy. Like it's all over the map.
But lots of rock, lots of different rock in there. And what I liked about what you were saying is all the vocalists that I was thinking of, and the vocal styles and how they lend to you. And because I think you've got such a great voice, and
Thank you.
As do many people. And, also it's interesting that you bring up the Guns N' Roses effect, because, I mean, What would you describe your guitarist's vibe as? Because I find his vibe very appetite for destruction. I mean,
oh my god, yeah. Rocky is like on a whole new level. Like he strikes me. So I always said that if Metallica ever did like a Dirt movie, that he would have to try out for Kurt, like 100%. He looks at, got the hair, the style, like he's, and he has like on stage too. That's why like you'll see me a lot of times just kind of back away and just kind of let him walk right up to the front and like do his thing, because like he is so passionate about music and the way he like moves, and it's incredible.
I definitely noticed that the passion he has, like you said, the movement. Most guitarists are not going to understand body movement as an entertainment form on stage. So when you get a guitarist who knows how to strut that way, I think it's a very cool bonus feature to have, and his confidence is radiating that way. So were you in a band in high school?
No, see, this is where it kind of gets tricky too. So like, I didn't even know how to play guitar in high school. So like, it was more, I sang, I kind of liked to sing and stuff, and I really kind of missed the ball on doing music in school for the theory and everything as well. So it was kind of, when I got out of high school and I was kind of working full time, that's when I really started to pick up the guitar, and my friends had guitars all the time, and I was like, oh, let me just try this. And so I really got a knack for it, and I really liked it. And then it was more the singing aspect. So, I'd start singing, like, I think the first song I ever learned on guitar was When I Come Around by Green Day. Because it's power chords, it's simple. And then I just started singing, and then I was just like, oh, this is kind of cool. And when they found out that I could sing and kind of play guitar, it was, okay, don't worry about the guitar as much. Why don't you just start, be a rhythm guitar player and really sing? So I kind of went that way.
I think you've done great with that. I mean,
yes,
I tried to do the same thing myself, and I found I'd get off stage and my hands were bleeding. But I mean, just because I couldn't coordinate very well doing the strumming and the singing, and gosh, I like to belt, and I find sometimes that with the muscle motions conflict with the guitar playing. But I admire people like yourself who can do the vocalist thing at a high level and play guitar. I don't think it's easy to do at all. A
lot of practice for sure. There's a lot of things that I find like Rocky will bring a lot of riffs in and stuff like that too. And when he does, and we actually have songs that incorporate me doing the same riff as him and singing over top of it, it takes me a while to kind of figure that out. But we get it, we do it. So it's great. But it does take me a little bit longer than good old Rocky.
Well, that's okay. He's the lead,
yes,
right? That's his job. I like to put lots of pressure on the lead guitarist.
Yes,
they get that lead in front. So come on now. But were you guys? So what was your first band?
My first band was actually an original band, and my brother was the bass player in that band as well. We were called Midcard Status, and it was way back in the day. We have a cool opening. We ended up opening for Chaos in Oshawa.
Wow.
Yeah, right. So, and Hail the Villain. I don't know if you ever heard of Hail the Villain, but Hail the Villain is
yes.
Okay, yeah.
What,
so we hope.
What year did you open for Chaos?
Oh, probably.
Was it like Crab in the Bucket year or whatever?
Yeah,
was that?
It was like 2007-ish, 2008, right? Way back then.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we ended up getting put on a bill in Oshawa. They had like this big, it was like the Durham campus. So they had there was two big stages. There was a little stage, and then there was a main stage, like in the auditorium or the big gym. And we obviously had the little one, but it was, we can officially say that Midcard Status opened for Chaos and Hail the Villain. So we were happy about that. And it was fun.
Absolutely. And a story about Chaos that I was told when I did a music competition years ago was that Hummer, the vehicle, came along and offered him like a commercial deal. They wanted his song in their commercials. And Chaos came back and was like, no. And they were like, really? Because it's a a whole bunch of money, like 500 million or something stupid, or 500,000 or something stupid, right?
Right.
And he comes back and says to them, no, I care about the environment. And the next thing you know, he gets a phone call from his label, and they dropped him. And the label was just like, you just cost us a whole bunch of money because of your feelings about the environment. So that's where we say bye, because we're not interested in losing out on big dollars. So that's a story I was told at some kind of convention, you know, where we were learning and whatnot. Industry people were talking. So it's interesting to know that even at that level, when you're just killing it, you know, you can still run into roadblocks or.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So tell me about after that band then, because you were with your brother in this band. So then it goes from there. Do you stay with your brother?
No. So it ended up just that band kind of had some creative differences. One wanted to go I wanted to go more the rock route. These guys wanted to stay kind of more the punk route. So I was like, no. So I left, and I formed a cover band called Noise in the Attic. And no, we were not an Aerosmith tribute band. We just basically did covers. And that was, we were in that band. I was in that band for quite some time. Yeah.
Cool.
And then after that band was another cover band that I just kind of jumped to, and it was Tight Quarters. I was in that band for years, played, and that's where like Mark, our drummer, he kind of stepped in kind of closer to the end of that as well. And, but at the end of kind of Tight Quarters reign, I would say that's when it was the Lazy show. To be honest, I went and seen the Lazies before COVID at the Biltmore, well, it's now the Biltmore Theatre. And I remember watching them, and I went by myself. This was the second time that I seen them, and I remember watching it, and I was just standing in the crowd, and I'm like, man, why don't I just finish my songs and write my album like I've always wanted to? So it was a big inspiration they had on me, and I literally went back. I talked to Mark about it. Mark's like, let's do it. And we basically created the first album. So.
Okay. So then who's everyone in the band? Who are all the members?
So we have my brother, Mike Day, he plays bass. We have Rocky Cordes. He is our lead guitar. And then Mark Hamilton is our drummer. So
you and Mark go way back in with the cover bands. And then you and your brother go way back to the original band.
Yeah.
And so then you brought in this Hot Fire Rocky to be the finishing touch there.
And you know what the crazy thing is? You know how we found Rocky? Is me and Mike were sitting. We just finished a jam, and it was me, Mike, and Mark. And Mark was like, "Man, we really need to find a lead guitar player and stuff." And we had a few people that auditioned and stuff like that, but they just weren't taking it as serious enough as we wanted. So we were like, you know what? Mike's like, why don't we just throw an ad on Facebook Marketplace and just see how that is? And we were like, okay. So we did. We put it on Facebook Marketplace, and then there was a few groups that we were associated with on Facebook, so we threw those in there. And then all of a sudden, I got an Instagram message from Rocky and just said, "Hey man, I seen your ad. Just here's my Instagram. Have a look through, and I'd love to come and play." And I'm like, okay. So we ended up swapping numbers. I gave him the album. I'm like, well, and I pick a couple of songs. I said, we know it. So I said, pick a couple of songs and let's jam. Yeah. So literally, man, he shows up and Rocky's small. Like he's smaller than all of us. We're giants, right? So that Rocky, we're just like, oh, okay. And in he comes, plugs in, and just blew our minds. I was like, whoa. And like he played 2 songs completely flawless. I just closed my eyes during the solos, and it was exactly like the record. And I'm like, this kid is a prodigy, man. This is phenomenal.
Yeah, you can stay, halfling. That's
Absolutely.
So cool. Yeah, that's awesome. I got those vibes off him, and in certain ways, with this curly hair and his rocking ways, he reminded me of our Joe in our band, and a similar type of rock energy, which is hard, I believe is hard to find, especially with those guitar skills that you were talking about that, you know, can throw you back and make you just go, wow. And I'm sure like when he brings you riffs, it just really gets you excited and pumped, because I love riffs. I mean, I can't write them at all. So I love it. And I mean, the thing is, I also like being like, oh, no, that riff's not quite, I can't, let's make some changes to that riff, you know? And then they're like, fine, stupid Warren. But, you know, it's a lot of fun. So songwriting, do you all bring different ideas? Like you bring a song maybe sometimes with the lyrics, or maybe Rocky brings some riff, or your brother brings a riff?
Well, you never take the bass player's riffs, right? That's always...
You try not to, but you need to keep them around. You can't offend the bass. You need them, you know? They're hard to find.
Reminds me of that video where the bass player comes in with the song and they're like, we're just going to put this up on the fridge. Like, good job, you know, like high five. But songwriting now is incredible. Like the second album was phenomenal. We all wrote the second album together, which was great. And that's exactly what we want to do. Like, obviously moving forward, there is times where, you know, I'll be on the couch, you know, strumming away on an acoustic guitar, and a song just kind of, and you probably know it, just as being a songwriter, it just kind of falls out. You're just like, oh, this is actually really good. And then you bring it down to the guys, and then it goes from like being very good to being great. And then it goes from practicing a while for being great to, yeah, that's going to make the record, or let's play that live type of thing. So I kind of do that. Rocky's the riff guy. He brings all of these crazy riffs. We get downstairs. He's like, oh, I was, you know, let me show you this. Like every time we practice, he's got a new riff, new something. So we have a lot of recorded stuff on our phone that is, you know what I mean? You know what, easier probably know exactly what I'm talking about, right? So you're just like,
get one recording of that before we move on. Hurry up, get your phone out. Okay, exactly. Good. You got a bit. Okay, good. Move on. And then, you know, at the end of the night, you're listening to it. Oh, that was actually pretty good there, that one thing, you know, or whatever. I totally get it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, and then it's just basically just kind of snowballs from there. Like you know, Mark will put his spin on things. Mike, he's always good at creating stuff on his time. So like we'll get the song structure down when we're actually writing downstairs in the basement and stuff like that. And like we get the groove and everything. He gets the groove. And then like next practice, you come back and he's got this boom, 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 like crazy, like you're just like, whoa. And he was like, yeah, I just needed to sit on it for a bit. And I'm the same way. Like when I write and stuff like that, I can hear the riff, see the riff. Once I figure out the riff, then I have to like sit on it a bit. Okay, what kind of melody goes good with this or whatever, right? So,
yeah, cool. And what was it like writing with the second album? Where did you record it, I should say?
See, this is so. We recorded everything in my basement.
Cool.
Yeah, so
nice.
I had
that's a lot of work. That's a ton of work.
So much work. Yes. We recorded the second album for just over a year. Yeah, for sure. Like I have all the mics in the software and all that stuff. So we did all the drums first, and then we have our hidden gem, we call him, is Chris Riley out of London. So which is Mark's cousin, and he is a mixer producer. So we basically do all the recordings. Then we send it all up to him. He does all the mixing and then sends it back to us. And then now we've got some drum tracks and we kind of just snowballs from there. So we did all of the recording, vocals, that entire album was done in my basement. What
did you record the vocals on? I'm curious.
An Apex condenser mic.
Cool.
Yeah, and then we have Rocky's closet. It's basically, he turned his closet into a vocal booth. So he's got foam all over the place, and yeah, it worked. It worked great. Yeah.
Hey, that's really cool. I'll tell you something. Years ago, I was in a band and we tried to do it all ourselves. And the issue that somebody ran into in the band who was trying to do a lot of the editing and a lot of the work was they couldn't they couldn't let it go. Like if they'd mix it we'd listen to it, we'd say, yeah, that sounds great, and then all of a sudden he'd be like, no, I have to mix it again, like I'm not happy with it, and like that process like kind of kept going and going. So how do you know when it's time to send this to the mixer? Like, I'm hands off, I've done what I needed to do.
So I don't know if there's ever a time, because you are exactly right, because it gets to the point where you hear it so much and you're just like, should I do this? Should this be this way and stuff? So we kind of get together, listen to it, and be like, okay, this is good, let's send it. And then it comes back, and it's a lot better than, you know, what we've sent. So it's a hard process to kind of let your song go, let your baby go. I find
it's really good that you're able to trust your bandmates at that point in time. Going back in time, I wish that the guy I was working with would trust us, you know, but I think that's what it comes down to. But you're right. That for me was the hardest part, because I didn't know when it was done ever. And then, you know, so what would you think? I'll tell you this. What would you think if I told you, okay, you got to record an album in 6 days?
A whole album in 6 days?
Yeah. I mean, would that be stressful, or would you just need to be prepared?
We would definitely need to be prepared. It would be stressful for sure, but I think we would be prepared enough to do it. Like, I wouldn't right now, if you told me let's go write album 3 in 6 days, there's no way that NTD would be able to do that, because all of our songs.
You could, but
you think so? Yeah.
Yes. Oh yeah. Especially if you guys like were suited up with a producer. I think like,
well, fair enough. True. Yes.
I think like 8-9 days. And if you guys had like really good songs coming out, like, yeah, you guys could do it and make some, like, I'll just tell you, because that's a really different experience, right? Like, going into a hot seat scenario versus taking a year, which is amazing to do. I've done it both ways, and I find they're both like, they're fascinating. Like, each have their issues. Like, the one, it kind of draws on and it keeps going, and the other one you're in this frying pan, and it's just, will we make it out in time alive? Like, we have the board with the X's going on everything we need to get done, and also, like, is it good? Because you don't want to just be making a bunch of poo-poo in a short amount of time, right?
It's true.
But yeah, maybe one day down the road, you guys will do something crazy like that.
Our next album, we decided that we are going to take it into the studio this time, just because we want that studio experience. We want to be able to take all the stress off of us. And, you know, like, for me and for the guys, when we actually recorded the album, like, they would record, they'd be like, hey, cool, and then off they go. Well, me, I would be like, okay, so now I have to cut it, chop it, send it, break it all down, send it over to England. So there was a lot of, like, I shouldn't say stress, because I actually really enjoy to do it. It's just a lot more work for me. So I want NTD to go into the studio this time, and we're all agreeance on that, and just record with somebody, a producer, and go that route.
I think you'll have a lot of fun. Like, I wouldn't recommend it to every band, you know, or everybody. But you guys, I know how committed you are and how good your stuff is. And the fact that you're able to record your own stuff, I think it's only going to help your experience, like, going in there. And spending the money sucks, I think, but that always is the part that sucks. But I love getting that product back, and yes. Like, you know, there's certain pieces of equipment that I can't afford that in these studios, I've heard what they do. It's like, Neve is very nice. Yes. You know, yes. Things like this, or Newman's, you know, like the Newman mic that I will record on. I love that, you know, but they're all just little things. It's all about what you hear in the end. So I think that's amazing that you were able to get that. And, like, I've seen your videos, some of your music videos as well. What do you think about making music videos?
I love making music videos. It's so much fun. We have a guy, Matt Alzarello. He's done all 4 of our videos, and it's cool because Nitetime Drive kind of comes up with obviously the concept with the song, and then we'll sit around a table for a bit and, you know, fire ideas off back and forth, and then figure out what is the best plan. And then when we get there, he changes it all. So it's one of those things where, but it's always changed for the good, right? And our last video that we had for Awaken, we actually had Alexandra Augustine. She came in and she basically directed the whole video. So cool. we hired her, and that was a lot of stress off of us too, because she basically did the storyboard. Here you go. How does this look? And we were like, yeah, that's exactly what we were looking for. So it was awesome. Again, it was just one of those ones where we like that more, because again, we can enjoy the video shooting of it instead of being stressed, like, oh, we need to do this, we need to do that. Like, it's just, she had it all planned, and she's very thorough, like very thorough. It's like, no, you're not doing this, you're on this time and this and this and this, and we're just like, okay, all right, yeah, gotcha.
Cool. Yeah, I like that. I mean, when I do the music videos, we found a guy as well that worked really well with us, that we've done all of our videos with ever since. And like, it all kind of goes back to, like, the first video we did with him was Down with the Devil. And he was kind of feeling us out, getting a sense of who we were. We're feeling him out, getting a sense of who he was. And we did a very simple video. But when we finished, we were like, wow, the quality's great. He did what we asked. There was no issues whatsoever. I wonder if we could get a little more creative next time. And so the next time was Wake Up Boy, and I had all these crazy ideas, these wild ideas about running around this junkyard and trying to get the guys to do things. And you talk about the storyboard. Well, gosh, I wasn't that nice to Dom. I just brought him into the field with us, and I said, you come with me, Dom. I've got this whole thing figured out. And he was like, oh man, I don't know what to do. But like, for example, at the end of the video, I was like, Dom, listen, I need you to do one more thing for me. And if you can't do it, just tell me. But what I want is, I want Miguel to be driving the motorcycle, and I want him to drive it right at the bunny rabbit. Okay. And then at the very last second, I want the bunny rabbit to disappear and then reappear and hit Mig in the back of the head. Can you do that? And Dom was like, yeah, I can. And I was like, you are the best. And ever since then, I've never doubted him. I just know Dom will have my back if I have this wild idea. Even if he'll say, I can't do it. That one I can't do. Then I know it's really too much, because 98% of the time I say something, you know, a little silly, and he'll be like, let's do it. You know, so yeah, music videos are a real fun thing to do. As a so group, much fun. I find. Like, it's just like group activity. It's like group bonding, everything all wrapped into that day. You talked about the Lazies. So you just opened for the Lazies recently, didn't you?
July, I think it was. Yes, we opened July.
So that comes
like
around
Well,
that comes around like full circle to you going back to when you weren't in an original band and you went to their show, right? And then it comes around full circle and you're playing that show.
Oh, it was crazy. So when we got the go ahead and we were, you guys are support to the Lazies, you guys are good. And I was like, oh my God, not only opening for the Lazies, we were like direct support for them. So our job was to fire up the crowd and get them ready for the Lazies, because I mean, their show is off the chain. So, and I even said that too, like through our set, I even thanked them for giving me the inspiration to create the album. But they are so nice, so humble. Like I was kind of nervous going in, because I chatted with them a few times, like online and everything, but not like ever face to face, obviously. And it was just, when we came in, I was like, I didn't really know what to expect. And then TJ just like ran off the stage and they came down, like gave me a big hug. And I was just like, oh man, he's just like, it's good to see you. Finally, like put a face to the voice. And I was just like, oh yeah, that's great. And then Maddie the same, and everybody. It was just, it was so much fun. Even Leon too, man. Like he's one of the straightest shooters I've ever talked to. And it's just like, yeah. And it's one of those things where you're just like, okay, like, that was intense, but yes, like such good guys. Such good.
Yeah. His honesty to a fault thing, it's like people like that, you come to appreciate them. Because
Yes.
when someone is consistently like that, you just come to understand they're just a very honest person, and they just don't have room for baloney in their lifestyle. So I get it. And honestly, when you talk about the direct support, I mean, I'm lucky. I got to open for the Lazies 3 times. The first time was not direct support, and we got there and we had to like set our, and we were with In Ire. I don't know if you've ever played with In Ire before, but they're really cool guys. And so we kind of had to set our drum kit up in front of the other drum kit. But the next 2 years, the Lazies were just like, share our kit. Like, you know, after that, they were super cool. And
they did this. They did the same thing to us.
Right?
Yeah.
Matty Lazy is the nicest, most humblest dude you'll ever meet, like, in my opinion. Like, he is so down to earth. That guy can like have a conversation with my mom or with anybody's mom, and like they'll just be like, "What a nice gentleman! Yeah. What a nice!" And then he gets up on stage and they're pouring the whiskey down while he's killing the solo, right? Yeah. But they're like a family too, you know. Like in years past, their guitar tech, it was always funny. We like at the Brass Monkey. I don't know if you've played there before in Ottawa, but they'd have like at the side of the stage, kind of blocked off for the guitar tech, and if you went back there, he'd be like, whoa, this is my working area, watch out. And then this time, and he's an Aussie, and this time when we played for them in January this year, he was there, but he was on rhythm guitar duty because their rhythm guitar player couldn't make it over. He had, I guess, I can't remember what it was, but he had to stay back in Australia. So the guitar tech was on rhythm guitar duty, and I watched closely, and he nailed it. He nailed every single part. Like, you would never be like, oh, that's a guitar tech. No. And I was like, that's how you know it's family. Like, these guys, and they know like how to support one another in a very cool way. So yeah, I wanted to bring the Lazies up because we share that, and we also share that with our buddy Jordan Lowry, and of Lowry Mills.
Love that dude.
I know you guys are very tight. And I have to get him on the show still. I have to reach out to him because, gosh, he's a great personality and a great voice and a great guy. Like, such a cool dude.
He's the type of guy where I remember when they were back in Reckless 4, me and him talked briefly, and it didn't really come about anything else. And then when Nitetime Drive started and Lowry Mills, they kind of changed their brand, and they were looking for like bands, and I reached out to them, and I messaged them and said, hey, like, if you're looking for a band to open or something like that, we're just getting, doing our live shows, and literally my phone rang, and I was like, okay. So we talked on the phone for like an hour and 45 minutes, and it felt like we were like brothers. And ever since that day, it's literally just been, he's phenomenal. Like, that whole band is family, like 100%. I love them all. And yes, you definitely need to get Jordan on there for sure.
I know.
I will definitely reach out to Jordan and make sure he contacts you to get on.
Yeah, man, I need to get him on. He's such a great guy, man. Such a cool guy. And honestly, he was so friendly to me in the beginning that I almost didn't believe it. He was so nice to me in the beginning that I almost was like, is he putting me on? Is he being? And then it's like, no, he's just genuinely that cool of a dude.
Yeah, he is.
So Chris Gaines probably introduced you to them too, or you were saying that was through the story you were just telling about how he found you on.
Yeah,
Facebook,
so I was on the Kingston music group, and
that's it.
Yeah, and they were just basically firing off needing bands for the mansion for a show at the mansion. So we were like, hey, like, send him some stuff, and he's like, I remember your stuff. You sent it to me a while ago, and I'm like, oh, and then it was just
How are your shows at the mansion? Do you have any good memories there?
So the mansion was, believe it or not, Nitetime Drive's second show live. So we ended up playing the 116 Bistro in Belleville, and we played with Dead Wolf, which was a metal band, and their band kind of dropped out. So I kind of snuck in and was like, hey, like, we're looking to play live. So we got to play. Our second show was the mansion with Jordan, and it was awesome. But such a late night. It was crazy. Like I think we didn't get up to hit stage till 12:30, and like we're from Port Hope, right? So that's an hour and 45 minutes home. So we crushed the set. It was fantastic. It was like our first time live. It was like at the mansion in Kingston, so we were all fired up on all cylinders, and we were just bagged afterwards. But again, like I said, Jordan was just like, he kept coming to apologize. I'm sorry it's so late, and it doesn't run like this normally. I'm like, dude, it's rock and roll. Rock and roll. I always say to people, if something's not going on right in a show or whatever it is, I'm like, that's rock and roll, baby. Like that's all it is.
Roll with the punches.
That's right.
But you had a crowd there. So like you were waiting, but there was a crowd. See, I've played the Mansion before. I mean, maybe once or twice I've had a good crowd. I've played there before and I've had nightmare experiences and sometimes where I went down and I talked to all these Queen students, like there was 100 or more people downstairs, but they just weren't coming upstairs. Like they weren't interested in paying the cover or whatever. I went around, I told people, look, I'll take the cover off. So I don't like playing the Mansion too often, but you had Jordan. I think that was probably a key in getting that room to get the right vibe going for sure. But yeah, I've had difficulties with it. Whereas when I played the Toucan or Overtime or Martini, a Blue Martini, which we just played, it was all great, all great. Kingston's such a good music town.
Yeah, it is. It's very good.
You guys played Voodoo Gravel Fest. How was that?
It was awesome. Gravel Fest is great. We always love playing for Joe. He's such a good guy. To house everybody on his property and put on a festival like that takes a lot, and we always appreciate it. And we always make sure we thank him big time. Like, this is great. You're always doing it for the bands. And we got up there. We had our set, but we ended up, it was a Skid Row cover band or tribute band that was on after us, which was just like, you close your eyes, you're like, yeah, there he is. Like it was so good, right? And we love it. We love Voodoo. We love Gravel Fest. I'm glad we were a part of it for the kind of second year in a row. So that was great.
Yeah, Voodoo was a lot of fun for me, and Joe is a character. Lots of rock and roll people, or all the rock and roll bands should meet and meet Joe and get to know him a little bit, because I do think he's a great rock and roll punk personality that people can find in the area who really cares about the music. And that's, I think, his number one thing. Like he loves picking the music. He loves listening to all of it and going through it all and has that appreciation for it. So I like that. Some people might not recognize, like, that's hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of listening. And just not knowing anything and reading more and more about more bands, and then trying to whittle it down. It's not easy. Like, gosh, that's what I would say to some people about rejection in media, rejection in the industry. It's not easy for either side a lot of the time. It sucks to be rejected, and a lot of the time when you're doing the picking, you're doing the casting or whatever it might be, gosh, it's not easy sometimes to whittle it down and make these hard decisions. So, yeah, sucks on both sides.
Yes.
How was April 26th, your album release at the Biltmore Theatre?
Oh, I still get all goose pimply when I think about the album release, because it was a lot of work. Bands were amazing. We had Gypsy Bridge, they're out Toronto way. We had One in the Chamber, like, guys put on such a hell of a show. We had Lowry Mills, they were direct support to us, and then we went on and teared it up. We brought Jordan up, we did Voodoo Child, we had guitar player from Gypsy Bridge, Sean, he came up, so it was great. We had a great crowd. The Biltmore Theatre, have you ever played the Biltmore Theatre?
No. There's so many places around you, because it's like you guys are like just outside of Toronto. I think it's and it's an intriguing place. I'd like to play there one day.
It's great. It sounds great. Everybody there is very, very helpful. It was just such a good good place to have it. It was, like I said, we had quite a few people. Well, we had a lot of people, and then we had there's balconies or like mezzanines on each side, and they were all packed too. So when you actually look up and look around, you're just like, oh man, this is crazy. And then Jacob, the guy who runs the Biltmore, he's just a pleasure to deal with. Like, he's so down to earth. Like, he's very like, when you're stressed, he takes the stress off because he's like, oh man, just relax, we got this. You know, it's things that you would think you would be stressed about. He just doesn't care, which is nice. And I mean, like we videoed it all too, so hopefully we'll be releasing that pretty soon. And then, like I said, it was just
live from the Biltmore.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And then, yeah, it was great. Like, everybody played well. We had a great time. It was just, we were all treated like rock stars, and that's basically what you want to, you know, when you're kicking off your album. And we sold a ton of albums, which was great.
Yes, that's awesome. Was it mostly CD hard copy, or were you guys selling vinyl?
So we are going to be doing a vinyl pre-sale here very soon, probably within the next couple of months, I would say. Cool. But it was CDs for sure, and it was literally down to the wire. Warren, we like picked them up like the day before the show, like we were really stressing out. We're like, how can you have?
It's always like that, though. I find it's like always for some reason we plan and we plan and we plan, and then there's still this rush at the end where it's like, damn it, where are the CDs?
Yeah, it was literally my sister went up and got them like the day before the show, and it was just like, oh. So we were kind of stressing, but when we knew they were in, we were like, okay, let's just go kick some ass.
What kind of crowd size are we talking about? Like 200, 150, more, less?
I think, Jacob, the totals were, I think he said it was 230 people-ish, I think.
Wow,
yeah.
That's excellent. That's excellent numbers.
Yeah, and we had, so a lot of them was like ticket sales that we were tracking and stuff. And then he said that there was, I think it was 40 people that came in off the street. So that was like ones that we weren't even kind of like, so it was great. So yeah, I think it was 236 was the number, yeah.
That's fantastic. I mean, that's really good, in my opinion anyways. My goodness, what a night then. Like, to have all those people come out, and then like the 40 people that like you didn't know that showed up and were just like randoms, those are my favorite.
Yes.
Like, those are my favorite people to meet, of course, because like they don't know you, they have nothing to on this, you know, when they come up and tell you or give you a compliment or say they enjoyed it, you're like, wow. Well, they mean that because they don't know me, you know? Oh, cool.
40, yeah, it's like 40 new fans, right?
So talk to me then about the Urban Band Wars, Gussapalooza. I'm not sure exactly what it was called, but I think Band Wars. And tell me first, how was Gussapalooza, and when did you play that?
So Gussapalooza was basically the sponsor of Band Wars. So Band Wars was basically, you submitted your song, so we submitted Awaken. I think they said it was like 200 submissions, and then it was basically crowd voting, or not crowd, but fan voting and social media and stuff to have the song kind of go on and see who kind of makes, like, you know, top 20, top 10, top 5. So we ended up making the top 5 songs or band for Band Wars. So the Urban that night was basically whoever band won got to play the main stage at Gussapalooza. They got the main stage at Gussapalooza. It was a gift card to Long and McQuaid, a single recorded mix and mastered at Treblecock Studios in Peterborough, and then a headlining show with Vinyl Hero and One in the Chamber at the Urban. So the bands were Lock 21, Mies, No Small Affair, Burning Bridges, and then us. And so basically when you got there, it was, you know, everybody did the sound check. It was a random order. They just basically picked a random order. So we were middle of the pack, so we were third. And it was such a good night. All the bands played fantastic. Unfortunately, we did not win the Battle of the Bands. Burning Bridges did, so congratulations to those boys and girl, because there's a girl guitar player. And but it was such a fun night. We had such a good time. Got to meet Matt Walsh from 3 Days Grace. He was one of the guest judges, so that was pretty
Excellent.
cool. And it was a really, really fun night, and it was packed too. Like, I played the Urban before, and never to that many people. Like, and you got up there, you looked out, you're like, whoa, like, that's a lot of people. So it was great.
Awesome. And so, are you still gonna play Gussapalooza in any capacity?
No. So that was our shot to actually play Gussapalooza. But I mean, like, hopefully we impressed, because the guys were there from Gussapalooza, walking around, like, video and everything, and they came up and shook our hands and stuff. And we actually, like, our critiques. So they kind of set it up at the very end. Once, like, so the top 5 played, then it came down to the top 3. So there was No Small Affair, Burning Bridges, and us were the top 3 to basically see who won. And then they kind of put a table. I thought it was kind of funny. They put a table right in front of the stage and had it like an American Idol type of, like, all the judges would sit and they kind of critique you and, like, kind of call you out and stuff like that. So I was just like, oh, this is going to be pretty
what?
Cool. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it was actually pretty cool. I mean, like, so they critiqued us first, and it was everybody. Like, Matt Walsh said my vocals were, like, phenomenal, best vocal of the night.
Good.
I basically won best vocal of the night by all 3 judges, and then and then with Rocky too, they were just like, your guitar player's on fire. You guys did a great job, and then they really liked the way that we handled the crowd at the end of Awaken, the kind of chant backs and forth, gets the crowd into it and stuff like that. So we had some really good critiques for sure, but we just didn't pull off the W.
That's frustrating, eh? When they tell you, like, oh yeah, you got the best vocals of the night, and oh yeah, you had the best guitar of the night, but you don't win. You're not, that's frustrating, eh? Because you feel like, oh, well, I did everything I could do, but right. That's just the way competitions are. And again, like I was saying earlier about rejection, like it sucks for you guys, and it's also really hard for those judges to make that decision. And I'm glad they gave you the kudos. Like, when you scared me when you said that they were going to critique you American Idol style. It just worried me because when I worked for Canadian Idol many years ago, before I sang, we'd gather the people in the lineup. Right, I'd get them in groups of 5 to go into a producer's trailer to sing for them. And basically, you either had to be really, really, really good or really, really, really bad. And they don't tell you which one you are. They give you a golden ticket depending on if you're one or the other. So it was just like, I know at that level, when you get into television and that type of thing, gosh, television producers are just cruel. There's nothing really nice about it or fair about it anymore. So I'm glad they were nice and that they gave you constructive criticism and gave you your kudos. But that does sound like a very fun event. And I've always been curious about Gussapalooza. Like, I haven't played it, but I've seen it, heard about it. I'll have to get one of the guys from One in the Chamber maybe to come on as well. That's another band. I'd love to talk to. Eh? They're cool guys.
Oh, they're such good guys. Yeah.
So you guys have any other shows coming up in the very near future?
Yeah. So August is kind of we have a private party in August. We have an anniversary party. So we got 2 shows in August. And then September, we're playing every single weekend. So we are playing the 7th at the 116 Bistro. We're playing the 14th in Colburn, which is a bar that we play at. And then the 21st, we're in Kingston at the Overtime. And we're actually headlining the Barn Burner this year, which is pretty amazing. And then the 28th, I think we're back at, I think it's Coburg. The place in Coburg. So all on our website and stuff like that too. So you can check out.
What's the place in Coburg called?
So the Baltimore Johns, it's called.
Baltimore Johns.
Yeah, it's just a little bar that we play. Yeah,
cool, man. It doesn't. that's cool though. If they're giving you that place to keep going back to on a consistent basis, then I think that's amazing. And like I said, it's all about character. And you know, sometimes it's a little place, sometimes it's a big place, but character always, you know, or Miguel, our guitarist, always says when he goes into places, pas d'ambiance ici. I can't eat here. There's no ambiance. It's a very bad vibe. Need to go and get try something else. Let's go escargots. There's no escargot on the menu. I'm not interested. You know?
Yeah.
Do you have one of those guys in your band that they really like the fine dining? You know, when you guys are out, they like to get the bottle of wine or they like to eat fancy?
Not really, to be honest. Mark's a beer connoisseur, so he loves to, like, wherever we go, like he'll try like all these different beers and stuff like that. So other than that, we just, you know, we'll get something as cheap as kind of possible to, you know, so you don't have to spend what you make type of thing. So
yeah, it's a lot of pizza, I find, at certain times. A lot of pizza, a lot of McDonald's, especially when you're, you know, doing the road thing. But the fact you guys are playing like all those dates, I think it's going to be really good for you guys. It's going to make you super, super tight. I mean, you're already super tight. It's just going to get even better now. And I mean, you must be very excited with how your second album was received, how you got that crowd out, how you've maintained excitement, released those videos. I think you guys are doing so much right. And you're going in the perfect direction, and yeah, I think you guys are doing an amazing job. Like,
oh, thank you. Yeah,
I remember seeing you guys originally and just being like, so good, you know.
Yes, yeah. We played with you guys at the Barn Burner, which was incredible. Like, it was one of those, and I've always wanted to play with you guys. I gotta say, like, my favorite song from you guys is Flood. Like, hands down, cool. The best song and when we played that night, you guys played it too early. So I was taking all my gear downstairs, and then all of a sudden I came upstairs, and you guys were halfway through the song. So I was just like, oh, I was almost gonna scream like, start it over, but it was dang. It's so good, and like I said, we were really like stoked to play that because like we had one in the chamber play too. You guys and then us, and then we ended up being support to you guys, which was even incredible. We didn't even find out that until like almost like 2 days before, which was awesome. And then it was such a great night, and like we bought a bus there too, right? So that was crazy,
fantastic. That whole night was great. You guys brought the party for sure with the bus. There's no denying that. And like I said, Chris Gaines loves you guys to death, and rightfully so. And so do I, and so does Jordan. And yeah, you guys are just going to keep kicking butt, and it's only going to get better and better. And competitions only means so much. And as long as you can record your own music and release your music and be proud of it, that's really what matters. And book good shows. Yeah. And You'll win a competition soon enough if you keep going into them, but you don't need them. And gosh, I'm proud to be a fan and a friend of Nitetime Drive.
Thank you.
And I look forward to the next time we play a show together.
Absolutely. Got to get us up to Ottawa.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I got to get my guys going back again full force here, but that will happen hopefully in the fall, and then I'll get you out here hopefully. And awesome. And then I've always wanted to try that what's the pub in Belleville called again?
The 116.
Yeah, I've always wanted to try that place out. Yeah, that'd be a really fun gig.
Yeah, they finally just got a new sound system there, so you don't have to cart all of your stuff there. So it's nice. Yeah, because when we played there the first time, I was like, "You had a sound system?" No. We're like, "Ooh, okay." So you're carting out everything, but it's a great little establishment. Food's fantastic, and once you get that place packed, it's a phenomenal night. The stage is amazing too. Like they really set it up nice for bands.
Absolutely. Well, Thank you very much to our fantastic guest of the day, Jay Day. And, Jay, you have a great band, great dudes that I've met, and I think they're all super cool. I just want to wish you the best of luck and keep doing what you're doing. I think it's awesome.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on here, man. This has been fantastic. And like I said, I can't wait to see you guys again and share the stage. It's going to be great.
It is going to be great. And thank you for watching out there, and we'll see you next time on All Worn Out. Bye-bye.